that. But I wonder, how is it that quantum physics, psychedelics, fringe experiences, biology, religion, eschatology, philosophy, all of them come together and point in this common direction that there might be something beyond the material death that we imagine to be the full stop to our continuous life?
Well, I'm so happy that you yourself in what you're doing right here, you're just asking questions. And how wonderful is that? And so you're a living example of exactly the method, because I think when we ask questions, our minds open up, and our mind and the space within our minds expands. You know, in Buddhism, we talk about the four formless realms, right? Beyond the form realm, where we go infinite space, infinite consciousness, infinite nothingness, and then beyond all of that. This method of asking questions is a wonderful way for us to purify our minds. And then once our minds are more pure, then we can be our highest selves. Even if that's not perfect, it's our highest selves. So all of these different elements, you know, psychedelics, for example, which from time immemorial, soma, you know, to the Greek Eleusinian mysteries, you know, all the way up to the 1960s on the West Coast, you know, have been used by people to have different kinds of experiences. And so the question is, what are those experiences? What do they mean? And now, of course, there's a lot of research that shows that those kinds of experiences can be of tremendous value to people who are suffering from emotional distress, either end-of-life emotional distress or PTSD, all of those things. Great and wonderful research that's being done. And then we look at this phenomenon of people having visions of UFOs. And I don't remember if you were in this class, but we had a couple of students who had remembered these experiences from when they were little girls, exactly as described in some of the literature that we read. And so what is that? And so we pair that with Pierre Corbin's book, Creative Imagination and the Sufism of Ibn Arabi, because he posits Ibn Arabi, one of the great Muslim scholar mystics, one of the great people of all time, what he calls the imaginal realm, which is not this physical realm, and it's not a separate mental realm, but it's somewhere in between, right? So what is this? How do we account for really thousands of people having these experiences? What does that tell us about, again, what happens when we remove our blinders? And then we look at some of the practices of Buddhism, for example, esoteric Buddhism, where a practitioner will go through the process of death 6 times a day, at least. And we wonder, as the senses fall away, as we're dying, and we're in more and more subtle consciousnesses, at that point, does this kind of measurement principle of quantum mechanics, does this become really effective? And so could that be a mechanism whereby some form of continuity takes place? In other words, if you have been practicing intensely for many, many years, so that a certain vision and going through the death process, you know exactly what it is, could that manifest itself at a very, very subtle level? And so we look at that, we look at science, we look at UFOs, we look at psychedelics, we look at religion. All of these are means to understand the human condition and to perhaps remove our blinders which will benefit us in the present tense, no matter, even if we don't have any answers, right? And perhaps may lead to some kind of answer about what these things are. And so, who knows? But by looking at the whole thing, and that's only best done collectively, but by looking at the whole thing, maybe we learn something.
Right.